Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of this news blitz for July 23rd, 2010. And this article is titled Ex-MI5 Spy Chief, No Link Between Iraq and 9/11. It says the war in Iraq led to a loss of focus on the threat from al-Qaeda, emboldened the group's leader and CIA intelligence operative Osama bin Laden, and helped to breed a generation of homegrown terrorists. Britain's former domestic spy chief told an inquiry Tuesday, making the sharpest criticism so far aired in Britain's inquiry into mistakes made into the Iraq War. Eliza Manningham-Bueller, director of the MI5 agency between 2002 and 2007, said Britain's government paid little attention to warnings that the war would fuel domestic terrorism. Said there was no credible intelligence to suggest that connection, and that was the judgment, I might say, of the CIA, she told the inquiry. It was not a judgment that found favor with some parts of the American machine. And for any of those with a short memory, it's basically when our government allowed us to be attacked by people that were trained inside the United States in order to drag us into an occupation of the Middle East, all done by design, part of the project for a North American century, in that they wanted to go into Afghanistan after the CIA's and Bush's buddy Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, because they said that he was working for the Taliban and that. And then all of a sudden that turned into Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda in Iraq. So that's why we were starting to go to Iraq, and everybody was kind of wondering, why the hell are we going to Iraq? They weren't responsible for 9/11, and it really did seem kind of out of place at the time, even for me being in the military. I recognized that there was just something not right with us going to Iraq in 2003. But here you go. This is the pretty much our equivalent to the CIA in Britain telling us that there was no link between Iraq and 9/11. This next article is titled National Guard Troops to Deploy to Mexican Border from the Army News Service, and this was posted July 22nd, 2010. It says up to 1,200 National Guard troops will deploy to the southwest border with Mexico August 1st, the Chief of National Guard Bureau said in a joint announcement with Obama administration officials at the Pentagon. And it says, "We are very pleased to be in support of our interagency partners," said Air Force General Craig McKinley. The 1,200 troops will support Border Patrol and U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement authorities in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. It says, "We'll make sure that all of our soldiers and airmen are well qualified, well integrated, and well briefed on the mission." Well, what are they being briefed about? Well, I heard this on a NPR radio segment probably about 3 days ago, where it was reported that the National Guard will be down there. They have no authority to arrest. They have no authority to do anything, really, just to basically defend themselves in case they are attacked. So they're not going to actually do anything while they're down there. They're just going to be a deterrent, supposedly. And that's pretty much the gist of it. You don't have to read all of it to find out, because they may not even really tell you. But yeah, so that's what's going on with down there. So right now with the BP thing, you have troops down there with martial law basically on the coast, in the Gulf area, which would include Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida. So you got troops all around there. Now you got troops down in Mexico because you have the sheriff getting death threats from the Mexican drug cartels / Mexican mafia / Mexican government, which is basically all the same thing. They're all working for each other, much like the United States government and the corporations up here and the drug cartels and the CIA and all that. They're all working together, so it's the same thing, just a little more hardcore down there. But yeah, so that's how I see the whole martial law, if there is going to be martial law or FEMA camps and all that crazy stuff. I don't really see it happening as far as going door to door and plucking people out of their house, political dissidents, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I think it'd be naive for me to say that it's not a possibility. But if it does, there's going to be a good possibility that's going to come from the immigration problem, from some kind of false flag attack, such as the BP thing, or an Al-Qaeda type attack. So just in summary, if they do kick off the whole warrantless checkpoints and DUI checks, they'll call it, and they start opening up national emergency centers due to the influx of mass immigrants coming over the border, or people evacuating, right, from hurricanes and whatever else they're doing down there. They're probably cloud seeding as well as all the crap that's in the water and the chemicals they've poured in there. So it doesn't look good as far as the whole martial law thing goes. But like I said, I'm not going to fearmonger or say that it's right around the corner, because you never know. It may never happen. And hopefully it doesn't. Shifting back to the economy, you have this article from July 15th, 2010. It says homes lost to foreclosure on track for $1 million in 2010. It says Rosalind Dalebout rents outer space. And I think I covered this last week, an article similar to this, or the same article. It says more than 1 million households, American households, are likely to lose their homes to foreclosure this year as lenders work their way through a huge backlog of borrowers who have fallen behind on their loans. Nearly 528,000 homes were taken over by lenders in the first 6 months of the year. If foreclosures continue at that rate, the yearly number would eclipse the more than 900,000 homes repossessed in 2009. Reality Track Incorporated, a foreclosure listing service, said Thursday. Says that would be unprecedented. Lenders have historically taken over about 100,000 homes a year. The surge in foreclosures reflects a crisis that has shown signs of leveling off in recent months, but remains a crippling drag on the housing market and economy. And that's because the government had some kind of program that was going, and what was it? It was, I believe it was March, and it ended sometime in April. Where basically, I don't know, it was like a month it was kind of like cash for clunkers for cars. It was like that for the housing and mortgages. It had something to do with some kind of tax break or something. I think it was a tax break to lure people in. But that was it boosted numbers for about a month, and that was it. It doesn't really fix the problem, and that's how all this other stuff is. It's just a patch work, and it's not going to really fix the problem. Much like the unemployment benefits, it's not going to fix the problem. It's a patch. This article is from the AP as well. It's titled "Relief Efforts Fails Many at Risk of Foreclosure." And so that's right. There was all this money that was slushing around as the Congress is being threatened that there would be martial law due to the economy collapsing if they didn't pass the bailout. And then, of course, we had just less than 6 months later the stimulus of almost the same amount of money, but it really wasn't just $700 billion. It was more of trillions of dollars when it was added up. And none of that money went to paying off or helping the people that were going to lose their home eventually, right? Because it was inevitable that they were going to lose their home. I don't know how you can take a bunch of money and give it to bankers and expect them to help the people that they just stole the fucking money from. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make any sense. They could have, with all that money that went down a black hole, they could have gave it to the people that were at risk of foreclosure and helped all these people stay in their houses. But it's a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year process, and in 2008 was the 3-year. This is the 5-year, and in 2012 we'll be hitting the 7-year, and that's when it'll be getting really bad. But we still have the other type of crisis, which is commercial real estate, which are all the empty buildings and for lease signs that you see around there in the Midwest. But it says the Obama administration's effort to help those at risk of losing their homes is failing to aid many and could spur a rise in foreclosures that would further depress the housing industry. It says many foreclosures would force down home prices that would deter already ailing home builders, start new projects. And so this is what it's all about, folks. I hate to say it, but this is how, if it does happen to where there is martial law and there isn't national emergency centers or FEMA camps, there's a lot that can happen, and the degradation of the economy is one big aspect of this whole process, right? This whole restructuring. So this is just one part of it. People losing their houses, 10 cities. Thank you.